Welcome to another edition of the Thunder Underground podcast. My name is Trent.
Jason here.
And if this is your first time listening, this is episode number 29, as you saw in the title. You can check us out at thethunderunderground.com to find out everything we're about. We cover everything from hard rock to the heaviest of the heavy, which brings us to this week's guest.
Yes.
Kirk Windstein, who is pretty damn heavy.
Heavy stuff.
Yes. This was quite an honor, but before we get into all that, we're going to play you a track from a band that we really like. They're out of Oklahoma here, and they're called Even the Dogs. And let's just go ahead and get right into this before we talk about it. It's called Ghost.
I spent time
right, that was Ghost by Even the Dogs from Oklahoma.
Yep, Tulsa guys.
Yeah. And like I mentioned earlier, thethunderunderground.com several months ago, we've got a independent reviews section up where we have reviewed several, albums or just independent bands in general. And I know you threw an review up there about this band.
Yeah, I did a write-up of them. Good stuff if you really like the melodic death kind of stuff, maybe, with a little bit of a Gothenburg vibe. This band is right up your alley.
Yeah, I think, you mentioned that in that review, and I remember you told me about them, that I got to check these guys out before you wrote that, and that's definitely right up my alley, and I know you're really into that stuff too.
Oh,
but
for sure.
The soul work and the scar symmetry, it's kind of similar in between those two. And,
yeah.
With
the kind of dark tranquilities, that kind of stuff.
The real heavy vocals, and then the really clean melodic singing.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to to hear a band in the middle of America making this sound and doing it justice.
Yeah, exactly. They're not they're not. I don't think they're copying anything per se. I think they're just using their their influences and putting their own spin on it. And it's, like you said, it's refreshing to find that here. So, definitely worthy of your support.
Yeah. Even the Dogs, all one word on Reverb Nation. You can find their page. All their songs are up there. They've got an EP. And I saw on their Facebook that they're currently working on a new album. So
Great.
That should be coming in 2016. And, of course, on Facebook, you just search Even the Dogs. I think those should be the first thing that pops up.
Yeah, it'll come right up.
So go find those guys, listen to some more of their stuff. And there's also, they have a lyric video for that song we just played on YouTube. So check that out as well. All right, now moving into the subject of the podcast here.
That's right.
Just recently saw the tour that's going on with We Sold Our Souls for Metal is the name of the tour, which is one of the song titles on the new Soulfly album. And Soulfly's headline tour with Crowbar and Insight, and the first part of the tour had Shattered Sun as well.
Yes.
Who unfortunately had to drop off a few dates ago, and we didn't get to check them out. We were both looking forward to that because we really like that band.
Yeah, I really, they seem to be having a little bit of a buzz, and I was really looking forward to seeing them. I like their version of Return to Serenity.
Yeah.
So, sad they had to drop off the tour, but I'm sure we'll see them soon.
Yeah. And besides the three bands that are on the tour, each stop had local support, and we caught three of those bands, one of which was called Archon. It was pretty good. And then we saw Southern Heretics.
Yes.
Who was also really good.
Yeah, they were great. I really dug them.
And then we saw Smoke Offering, which we were both excited to see because we hadn't seen them live. And that brings us to our last episode of the podcast. Go right there on SoundCloud and check that out. And there's a song from those guys, and we had three of the members on there, and as well as another band, Forever and Disgust, that the singer is in both bands. But yeah, they put on a great performance.
Yeah,
they sounded great live.
Yeah, very Kyle Williams, vocalist, pretty passionate. You could tell he was really into it, and it came across. It really translated well. They had some epic riffs, just a great vibe. I really liked how at the end of the set, he walked off and exited when he was done singing and let the band, just finish out the riff, finish out the song. That was kind of a cool element.
Yeah.
It kind of, what did you say when we saw it? You told me something. It just kind of...
It made it seem like they were a big band, like we're supposed to be here, listen to us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, he did everything that, huge bands you see do. Like, hey, go back there at the merch table, buy our stuff, and come say hi. We'll be back there shaking hands, and then he, Kenny, the drummer, threw his drumsticks out,
Yeah.
Which you don't see local bands doing that because they need those drumsticks, right?
Yeah, and people went after him.
Yeah. Because, it's a great performance. They didn't sound like some band in a bar,
Oh, definitely.
That doesn't know what they're doing. They sound like they belong there, and they acted like they belong there. And it came off,
Oh, yeah, it was a great addition to the whole bill.
Yeah. And, of course, after that was Insight, which features Richie Cavallera, the stepson of Max.
That's right.
And speaking of Richie, we also had the opportunity to sit down with him at this show.
Yes.
And recorded a podcast, which will be coming probably the next episode here in
it
should
be next week, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. A lot of great stuff talking about his band and coming music and his past growing up in the business with his parents who were heavily involved in the music business. And speaking of his dad, Soulfly, his kick-ass live band, always. Mark Rizzo is an insane guitarist.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, and Max, always delivers, playing the Sepultura hits, playing the Soulfly hits and a lot of new stuff. That new album, Archangel, is great. If you're into Soulfly, it's just one of those things you're not going to be disappointed. And then that brings us to the final band on the bill, which went on before Soulfly, but, we had to parlay our way into this, right?
That's right. Yeah, we had to segue into this interview somehow.
Right. Was Crowbar. And, what do you say? They deliver,
What do you say? Right. They put on a great show. Like you'll hear in the interview, Kirk says that, they're just meat and potatoes rock, meat and potatoes metal, and that's definitely what you get on this in their live show. They played No Quarter, All I Had I Gave, High Rate Extinction. They did Walk with Knowledge Wisely.
Yeah, I love that song.
Oh yeah, and that's just a killer opening riff to that song, and it just lays down just the fat groove and just kind of hammers you in the face. Just a fun set, and I've loved Kirk for a while. His Down, he just has the greatest riffs and structured songs. So it was just a great set, and it was awesome to get to talk to him for a little bit.
Yeah, if you're one of those people who haven't really ever checked out Crowbar, and you're into metal, obviously you're listening to this, you're into metal, you got to check him out because the guy's nicknamed the RiffLord, and there's a reason for that.
That's right.
You think of guys like the best of the best, which is probably Tony Iommi when it comes to that, and this guy's right there behind that. It's all the, it's these riffs are just so punishing and so great, and it's like when you hear them, you're like, this is why I have ears and I'm able to hear.
That's right.
For stuff like this.
That's right.
It's that, and he even he talks in the interview about, when Phil Anselmo produced their second album and how he helped him, kind of trim the fat and get into the groove of just writing one riff, that mattered, instead of just writing a bunch of different riffs, which is kind of a cool story to hear. And like you said, he mentions Down, which personally, that's kind of where I, obviously got into him, through Down, and then caught into Crowbar a little bit later. But, this is just a great band that continues to put out great music.
Yeah.
Last year, Symmetry in Black was a kick-ass album. They've got a new one coming sometime next year, so.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And, the thing is, the riffs in Crowbar, it's simple and effective, but it's not like common. You're like, why didn't I think of that? It's so easy, it's so simple. But, when you really pull all the layers back, sometimes it's harder to strip down. And that's just something I think he's mastered brilliantly.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do we got anything else to say before we get into this?
No, just, so. I hope everyone enjoys it. It's cool to just, side note, on top of like Crowbar stuff and, it's just cool to like talk about other bands and just talk about music too. And, that's what we did. And, we get into some Saxon stuff, some Type O Negative. It was just a fun conversation.
Let's do that right now.
Longer than that, we started it's been weird. We've been jumping off and coming back on because they took a break. We started on the 28th, and we did Dallas and Albuquerque with them, the 28th and 29th, and we did our own shows. We did 6 of our own shows and jumped back on one, but in Las Vegas. Then we did like a week or so, and then we jumped off after Kansas City, did 2 of our own shows because we had to play. We played Housecore Horror Fest yesterday in San Antonio, which was great fucking thing. It was a killer show. So then we went back up to them today. We were with them till Friday. So it's been great. I mean, it's kind of, same thing with them. Like, they've been doing shows with, with local bands, and, they have Insight traveling with them as well.
Right.
But, like today when I got there, like, oh man, I'm glad y'all are back. I'm like, yeah, we're glad to be back. It's better when you have a package, so it works out well. And then it's such, great band and such good guys, and treat us great, man. So it works out well. Max, even when we went to Las Vegas, finally got to hang out and just chat and talk for a while. And he's like, man, it's too short. I wish it was like a month. And I said, I agree. So it's good.
How was Housecore? Has that always been in San Antonio?
It was in Austin the first 2 years.
Okay.
What it is, I think, is because of House of Shock and all that.
Yeah.
Now, I think Phil was real smart this year to do it in the middle of November as opposed to around Halloween, because there's so much shit going on around Halloween. But it was amazing. It was really great turnout. The Aztec Theater, beautiful theater, really nice facility. Very nice, and killer sound system, everything, man. So we had a fucking crushing show. It was awesome. Went on at 6:30 and played like 45 minutes. It was fucking great.
You know, watch the rest of the bands, all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Had you ever toured with Max before this?
Played some festivals here and there, but no. I mean, I've met him a few times, just kind of, hey, how you doing? I mean, in our business, everybody at least recognizes people in other bands, whatever. But turns out he's really a very big Crowbar fan, and which is really cool, But no, we've never toured, but we've done some festivals with him before.
I was curious about on Symmetry in Black, there was a song Symmetry in White,
right?
But the album's called Symmetry in Black. Like, what's the meaning behind that?
Well, the song Symmetry in White was written first, and we all had agreed, we're like, we really don't have, even though Oddfellows Rest is kind of a black cover, the main thing of it is the morphed faces thing. But like, we want something simple, like, black background with something really simple, whatever. Usually for album titles, it's either the name of a song, or I'll go through lyrics and find like a cool phrase or something, in the lyrics or something. And I was looking through lyrics and all, when I saw Symmetry in White, I'm like, why not Symmetry in Black? So I asked everybody, like, yeah, that sounds killer. So
right on. I've noticed, from High Rate Extinction to Walk with Knowledge Wisely, there's always been some killer album openers. Talk about track listing and like how important that is, or how it comes up.
Well, for me,
they jump out.
It's really important because being old school, and when I was with Down, we used to think of it the same way. It's like we grew up on albums, so you had side 1 and you had side 2. So I still think of it in that way when we list the running order of the songs, like the track listing. I think of it as, okay, this is going to end side 1, now you're flipping the album over for side 2, and, it's a new, different vibe or whatever it might be. A lot of albums were like that where, side 1 had a certain vibe, side 2 might be a little more, longer songs and a little more whatever it might be. So I always keep that in mind, like as far as arranging the track listing, that to me it's like a record, so something ends in side 1, and if you take a break, make a sandwich or something, come back, get a beer, whatever it might be, listen to side 2, you flip it over and start it right there. So,
do you are you already thinking about the next album?
Oh yeah, we got four songs written that are really killer. Probably get at least another one or two, hopefully 2, written between when this tour ends and going out with High on Fire in December, and then in the month of January we really need to buckle down and make sure we finish up the other half of the record and get into the studio in early February probably and have everything. Last album was kind of difficult because Jeff was just coming in. He didn't know the back catalog. We had a tour set up, so we had to concentrate with him more with learning the set list and rehearsing that. So we're in the middle of rehearsing the set list to go on tour, as well as trying to write at the same time. And really 4 of the songs were kind of, for the most part, written in the studio. And we lucked out and they came out great, but it doesn't always work that way. So because of the way, we had a lot of interruptions as well. Like idiots, we booked the studio for like December 16th, and of course a few days later it's holiday time for everybody, and our engineer, Dwayne Semino, his wife had a child during the studio thing, and a new baby, it's like their 3rd kid, and it's just like we didn't realize we'd be breaking for Christmas, breaking for New Year's. We did a fly-in date in Chicago, come back, get everything rolling, and Dwayne's new baby's born, and that's a week off, and then we just didn't think it out. So this time, hopefully, with no interruptions and proper preparation, when we get in the fucking studio, we can knock the shit out,
Are you planning to self-produce it like you did the last one?
Well, I mean, when I say I'm the producer, what that is like overseeing everything, like the arrangement of the songs especially, and because an engineer and a producer are 2 completely different things. You can be a great producer and not be a great engineer. I don't know how to twiddle a knob unless it's on a fucking guitar or an amp. But hearing the music, hearing what the arrangement of everything is what's really important. And that's really when I say I produce the record or whatever, it's because being the vocalist, lyricist, and whatever, the original guy and all that kind of bullshit. It's what my job is to make sure that each song is as strong as it can be, and the hooks are there, and what should we do with this? Should we, how many times did we do this? Is this too long? Do we need, just everything, like when it's a chorus. Okay, is a single vocal good enough, or should we have a harmony on that part? Like just little things. Okay, well, we have a break here. We need like a guitar harmony or something. It's more about arranging and kind of making each song as good as it can be, and then kind of overseeing everything with the mix as well and production as far as mastering and whatnot. So really, that's what a producer's job is. Like a real producer, like Mutt Lange type guy or something. If you look at a Def Leppard Pyromania or a Def Leppard Hysteria record, his name's on almost every song with writing credits because they show him what they got, and he says, okay, wait a minute, this is going to be better, let's do this. So he's really adding, as a musician, he's adding a lot to the song and actually co-writing the song with the band. And that's what a real producer can do. When you can do it all, when you can make it sound amazing as far as a mix and production, but also when you can, like, my part would be not the mix and the production, but adding to the songs to make sure that the songs are as good as they can be.
I always wondered, you've always been known for writing these badass riffs, and you're kind of like you're the main guy, or you're the original guy. But when you were in Down writing with someone else who's kind of that way with Pepper, was that like a different? Did the writing process change for you at all, or? Yeah,
let's just put it this way: it's real hard to get a riff in when you're in Down, because everybody thinks they write better riffs than the other guy, which is fine. That's why it's a great band. But Phil thinks all of his riffs are the best. Pepper thinks his are the best. I think mine are the best. Jimmy thinks his are the best. Whatever. So it's hard, but there's certain, if someone's got something that's real strong, regardless of who writes it, everybody would gravitate toward it. Like, you take a song like Beneath the Tides off of the Down 3 record, like that was Phil's idea, basically. You know, everybody was just sitting there going, anybody got a riff? And Phil's like, I got an idea. It's real simple, though, and then we kind of build it from there. A song like On March of Saints was something I had. And it's like when I played the main riff, you know, the opening or whatever, everybody's like, okay, let's build on that. In anything, it could be anything. Pepper would bury me in smoke. He just all of a sudden went boom, bow, boom, bow, boom, bow, and like, dude, let's kill it, let's work on that, you know. So anybody can write it, and down, and but it's a lot of, I don't want to say egos. It's just a lot of, you got to realize that for the most part, you know, Phil, you know. It's an opinion, but for the most part, would oversee. The thing is, as a lyricist, like Phil's like the best arranger I've ever worked with, so he would help with Pantera a lot. But you got to realize, you're taking a guy like him, who comes from a band like Pantera, and you're taking Pepper, who's the main songwriter and lyricist and vocalist. When you're a musician who also sings, when the songs are being written, you're thinking of it. The point of view is from a vocalist, like in hooks, and what needs to go everywhere. So it's, you know, you had 3 lead singers in the band, plus, you know, when Rex was in the band, I mean, he's an amazing musician all around, and you know, and then Jimmy Bauer as well. I mean, he writes great riffs. Can't sing to save his life. love you, Jim, but you know, he writes killer riffs, and he wrote a lot. He's got a lot of great 4-track stuff he does at home and all that kind of stuff, man. So it was real hard with Down. I mean, with Crowbar, it's pretty much me and Matt sit down. One of us has a riff, we build off each other, and then a lot of times, like Matt will have a riff, and I'll go, dude, that's great. Stop! I got an idea, and then just we build from there, and then I start thinking as an arranger. Okay, right here we need to do something different. We need a key change. We need a hook part. We need a break. You know, that's the kind of thing that I'm experienced at doing, having played on 16 records now. Like realizing when it's time for a break or a stop or a key change or something, a tempo change or whatever it might be in the song. You learn, the more you write, the more you get better at arranging the song, which is very, very important, because you can take a great riff, you can make a great song out of 2 riffs. You know, it's just, you got to know when enough is enough, and when, you know, it needs more. More is not always better, for sure. And, you know, it's kind of, I mean, like in Tommy plays in Soul and Green also, and it's like, to me, when I hear, I'll hear like a riff that I think's great. I'm like, oh my god, it's a killer fucking riff. It only lasts 8 seconds, and it's like, you know, I'm like, dude, yeah, I can write a song around that riff, you know. But it's a whole different style of music. But you get that with a lot of bands where I'll hear a riff and go, they'll be doing a song and they go into this amazing riff in the middle or something. I'm like, I would have threw the whole rest of the song away and made that the song. And the first time I ever learned how to do that was when Phil was producing the Crowbar record, the song Existence is Punishment. Actually had like 4 or 5 riffs to it, and he's at band practice, and he's kind of got that, and we're like, oh, something's not right, you know. And he goes, can I be honest? I said, please. He goes, this song only has one good riff, which is bow, 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 bow. He goes, look, I'm being honest, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings here, but throw the rest of the fucking song in the garbage and write a song around that riff. That song has 2 riffs in it, and it's a great song. It's one of our popular songs with a video and Beavis and Butthead, the whole 9 yards. But it shows an example. He's like, okay, do y'all have any songs that start out on bass? And we're like, no. He goes, all right, start this one out on bass. And you learn things working with people. You learn that if you, like a drum fill can take you to anything. Like if you break and have a drum fill, you can go into a tempo change, whatever. You just learn. Like I've always used the term "trim the fat," like from the steak. You know, you want a lean cut of meat. You don't need all the fucking fat on a motherfucker. You know, although steak fat does taste good. But you know what I mean. It's kind of that's always been the writing philosophy is less is more, and you know you don't need 10 riffs or whatever. I mean, some of the greatest songs you ever come up with, Cashmere by Led Zeppelin's really 3 riffs.
Yeah.
You got a and then you got the kind of like bridge and the down. That's it. Song's like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, sometimes it's the simple stuff that works and sounds the best and
connects. It depends on the type of band you are. I mean, if you're in extreme music like Soulfly or something, it works for them. But for a band like Crowbar, it's pretty stripped down. Yeah. It's meat and potatoes. It's just, we don't have the fancy Brussels sprouts and decorative, shit on our plate of food. We have a big fucking steak and a big fucking potato, and that's it.
Yes.
It's the real food, not all the little fancy crap.
All you need.
Yeah, so it works for us.
Well, a few weeks ago, we got to interview Wino from the Obsessed and Spirit Caravan. Were you into them at all? Or
big time.
Because that's a pretty, pretty pioneering.
Saw him a couple of weeks ago. Actually, saw him in Albuquerque. No, he's a huge influence on my guitar. More so, he doesn't play guitar on St. Vitus, but he's one of my favorite vocalists. His voice just gives me a chill. It's amazing.
It's distinct. Who it is the minute you,
And he's 55 years old now. I was talking to him a couple of weeks ago, but his voice still sounds amazing. It's like he's just got one of those voices that are great. But I mean, he doesn't play guitar in Vitus, but his guitar playing like in the Obsessed and in Spirit Caravan, all that has been a big influence on me. I stole a lot of ideas of his with different chords and things like that. He plays a lot of weird chords. I don't know the name of any chords really. I just make them up. Yeah. Whatever. Matt knows the names.
That's what I was about to say. I like how he does all those fucked up chords with all that just distortion. Yeah, it's a distinct thing.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, speaking of influence, I know you were heavily influenced by Carnivore.
Oh, totally.
And I'm a massive fan of Type O Negative, and I didn't really ever get into Carnivore until later on. So I just kind of wonder, as a Carnivore fan, when you first heard that kind of shift in the Bloody Kisses era, did it kind of bum you out? Or
no, I thought I knew he could do it.
Yeah.
It's like, essentially, the first Type O Negative record is really a Carnivore record.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
And that's actually, in a way, is my favorite Type O record because I loved Carnivore so much. But to me, the transition to Bloody Kisses was great because even if you take the first Carnivore album, what song is it? You got the pretty metal section. After the war, come home and soar, fall into your arms, alive by the fire. I can't think of the song, but it's on side one. But that showed right there. I'm like, wow, he's really got a great, clean, deep baritone voice. He can really sing, on the first record. Then he showed maybe a little something here and there on Retaliation, but you could hear it. I knew he had it in him to do what he did when Bloody Kisses came out, which is still an amazing record. I mean, it's quite a difference from Slow, Deep, and Hard, obviously, and was hugely successful, commercially successful. But I mean, I love all his the mellow stuff and whatever. I mean, he's just a brilliant songwriter, a genius to me as far as a songwriting musician, and lyricist. A lot of his lyrics are kind of tongue-in-cheek. A lot of them are kind of they're funny in a way, different shit, but at the same time it's serious. But I love everything he's done.
Did you guys ever play with him back then?
Mm-hmm. Played with him in Detroit, right when Bloody Kisses came out, and actually, it's the only time we played with him, but seen him a bunch, and actually we're friends with Johnny and Kenny, and Pete and I met each other a few times. In fact, when we played with him in Detroit, he came up to me. We were playing at this gigantic dump called a Harpo's that everybody in the world is playing at, and he came walking up to me, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my god, Peter's walking over here. Like, how you doing, Kirk? Peter said, hey man, great to meet you, and chatted for a few minutes, and he's like, He's like, catering's open, man. Did you eat yet? I'm like, no. He goes, let's go get some lunch. I'm like, all right. So we walked over to catering and, kind of chatted for a little bit. And they had a tour bus and we had a fucking van. And he's like, look, man. He goes, any of you guys need a nap or anything like that? All our crew's inside working. He goes, yeah, if you need a bunk, whatever you need, feel free to take, whatever y'all need. I'm like, cool. He's like very down to earth, super cool, nice guy. So,
That's awesome.
Made a lasting impression on me musically and as a person.
Shifting kind of back to Crowbar, do you think longevity has helped you guys out? Because there seems to be like a renewed kind of interest in stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's helped us out a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's when I look back, I'm like, oh my god, I can't tell you how many bands have come and go since we started.
Yeah.
Bands that were big. I mean, even now, bands are falling off the fucking map. They're falling off the face of the earth because the music industry is difficult. But you have to be like strong-minded, very strong-minded, very strong-willed. You have to believe in what you're doing, and you have to take the good with the bad and realize that it's a journey, and not every day is paradise. I mean, it's a lot of hard work. For all the great gigs you have shitty gigs too. And I don't mean the crowds. I'm talking about like crappy sound systems. No monitors. Just whatever. People are like, what's it like to be on the road? I'm like, it's the same thing every day but different. Because it is. It's the same fucking thing. We wake up every day here. Hey, I got to take a shit. Where's the venue? Okay. Make a sandwich or something. Eat lunch. Okay, what time's load in? Such and such. You load in. Same fucking thing over and over, but it's different crowd, different local crew you're working with, different venue you're playing. It's kind of strange because a few arena tours I've been able to do. When I was with them, we did Canada with Heaven and Hell, and we did Australia and New Zealand with Heaven and Hell, and then we also did the first leg of the Death Magnetic tour with Metallica. And it's very strange when you're playing arenas because you have the same exact stage and everything, so it's like the same. It's the same thing every day but different. But it's odd because every night the stage is exactly the same and the arena looks exactly the same as you play in fucking where the Jazz play in Utah. Then the next night you play in fucking Denver. It's the same thing. It's like, I'm in Houston at the Toyota Center. I'm in this one at the United Airlines Center. Or this and this and this, and it all looks the same. And it's strange because being a band that plays clubs, normally the stage size varies tremendously from day to day, and the sound systems and all that. But when you travel with the same sound system, same staging, same light show, and everything, and all the arenas look the same. All the locker rooms are the dressing rooms. The catering is set up, and it all looks. It's like deja vu. It's much different than touring like we do, where every day is a new adventure. You're touring with a band like Metallica. The show's automatically sold out. So it's not like, wow, I wonder if it's gonna be a good turnout tonight. It's like, well, it's already sold out. You already know everything. How it's gonna be. But other than that, it's the same. It's the same thing but different every day.
Yeah, the first time I ever saw you live was actually in an arena opening for Pantera on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Oh, at Tarrant County? Yeah.
That was 20 years ago now, because it's 95.
Yeah, 95, yeah. I was in see it in Pantera. That was killer.
Yeah. I've seen a few different videos and, YouTube of this and that. In video you've got like a Gibson, in one you're playing an Ibanez, you've had like some Deans. What's like your main guitar, and what do you like to play?
Now I'm real happy. I play the Ibanez, the Shores.
Okay.
I'm really, really happy with them. It's just, I like all good. It's like, I like a certain type of neck, a certain type of feel, more like the Explorers. There's not much difference between, the feel of the guitar, like an Explorer and the Dean ML you see or any of that. I'm more, even a Les Paul or an SG or whatever, that's more me than a Strat body type thing, which is weird because when I first started out, I had a Les Paul, but that became my backup. I had a Charvel, an original Charvel with the one pickup, one volume out, Strat body. That was my primary guitar for a long time. And when I switched to like the SG body and back to Les Pauls and stuff like that, and that's when I switched to the Explorer type feel, it feels good because they're weighted right. Where like if I lift my hands up like this, you know, the guitar's not neck heavy or whatever. It sits well, and with the shape that it's got, it feels cool. It looks cool, and it's real good for covering up a beer gun. So it's got a lot of angles to it.
There you go.
So, but now I'm really stuck where the only disadvantage is it's uncomfortable to play sitting down compared to a Strat body or a Les Paul or something that, you know, fits on your knee nice. So when you're at home, it's a little less comfortable to play sitting down, but when you're on stage, it feels great, and that's really what counts.
Cool. Yeah.
I know, like, recently you guys issued the self-titled and Symmetry on vinyl.
Yeah.
Is there, like, I know that would be a huge cost, but there was any plans to, like, do that with the other albums? Or
there is.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, E1, who is our label now, they have the majority of the back catalog, so they can release other stuff on vinyl, too.
Okay. So are you a fan of vinyl? Or do you
Yeah, lately I've really gotten into it. My wife and I, Robin, bought a old console stereo from it's a 1968 Magnavox thing, and unfortunately it's got the needle from back then, and it doesn't want to play modern records. But the lady we bought it from had, like, you know, Tony Bennett, Sonny and Cher's greatest hits, and all this shit, and all that stuff. It plays without skipping. When you put a modern vinyl on there, I guess the needle's just outdated. So, I mean, but we want to get we love that for the nostalgia more than anything. But we want to get a proper vinyl setup and stereo. You know, to listen to vinyls. We have a lot of vinyl now. So.
Yeah. I grew up with the TV and then the open it up the top and the vinyl. That
that's what this thing is. This is like
that's awesome.
This is like a console. So it's like some of them open up. This one slides, but it's got it's got the turntable, the radio, a little spot to hold the records. But it's one big piece of furniture. You know, heavy as fuck. In fact, Matt and Jeff helped me move it. And, you know, it's a solid piece of furniture. And
miss that stuff though.
Oh, it's great.
Sure.
I mean, I remember being at my grandma's house, and you know, she had one just like it. And like Robin said, when she grew up, her mom and dad had one just like that too. So that's what we grew up on. That was like the fancy stuff. I had a record player. I mean, the fucking thing was plastic, you know, with a little built-in speaker or something, like a mono, like my first record player. And mainly back then, I just played 45s, like singles. Like I'd hear a song on the radio and like it, you know, probably like 50 cents for a fucking single or something back then. You know, take some of my allowance and ride my bike to the store and look through the record collection.
There you go.
Then I started buying albums, you know. I mean, I'm 50 now, so I was born in 65, so it's like, when I was a little kid, you know, I really started buying records probably in the early to mid-70s and building my record collection, which unfortunately all got washed out. Not by Katrina, but by another flood in New Orleans. So I lost about 500.
Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, random question. Sorry, I had to do it. I saw on an interview you had a Saxon shirt on. That's like one of my all-time faves. Oh, yes. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now I want to get one of those. What's like your favorite Saxon album? Or just kind of your favorite era of them? Yes.
The early, oh yeah.
See? No,
I mean, the early, anything up till Crusader, I love. That's the classic, the classics.
Yeah.
Even like the Eagle Has Landed live records, fucking amazing to me. But I mean, all the Saxon songs are great. I mean, they're great. They write great songs. Yeah. They really do. And we just saw them live with the tour shirt Matt's got on. We saw them September 6th in New Orleans, and it was absolutely fucking amazing, really. And when you see bands now, like when you see Saxon, you see Accept. Like if you've seen Accept lately at all, they destroy these younger bands. It's a joke. They don't need any bullshit. They got fucking Marshall stacks, fucking, you know, they don't have all this samples and background shit and triggers and fucking, you know, crap on tape and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, it's real amps, real guitars, real guys. And I mean, these dudes are still, I mean, Biff Byford sounded fucking amazing, 60-something years old. Just singing his seventh show in a row. And he was on fire, man. It's like, you know, they're super cool guys too. So
Yeah, we saw them a little club here with like 100 people showed up.
yeah, they only had about 100, 150 people
and
go on.
they didn't care. They went out like
Yeah,
and he sounded insane, just like you said.
No, I mean a couple of my friends are like, even Robin, my wife's kind of like, there's not many people here. I hope they don't like cut this up. I said, trust me, they're not. Then you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like we played some fucking weird place in Longview, Texas, Thursday night, and it wasn't a big turnout. We didn't go on stage till like fucking 11:45 or something on a weeknight. So you know, a lot of people had left and whatever, but we still did our whole fucking set and kicked ass. I mean, that's just the way you do it.
Got to.
Well, the thing is, you meet people every night. Like, I hang around merch a lot because Robin does merch. And I'd be like, I drove 5 hours to come here, man. I can't wait. I've never seen a band yet. Even if you're just doing it for that one person, you got to give them 110%.
Yeah.
Because seeing a gig is, in a weird way, it can be a life-changing experience. It's also making history every night because a lot of people, it's the first time they're going to see a band. And, you know, so really, to people that have been waiting, or people that, like, we have Soulfly fans now that we're trying to win over who are not Crowbar fans. And that's part of the job, too, is to go kick ass and win it. Like, man, that band Crowbar, I heard of them and shit, man, but they really kicked ass. I'm going to go out and get the CD or whatever, you know? So that's what you're trying to do. But, you know, even, I mean, not just for your own pride, because you should never not give 110%, but for the fans, you know.
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody that's seen you 20 times, somebody that never saw you, but every night there's people that travel to see us, you know, and it's important to make sure. I mean, it's people have been waiting for years.
Definitely.
I mean, people will be like, I've been waiting for 15 years, you know. And it's like, you really, you know, you want to give them that. Like when I see a band like Saxon, every time I see them, they played some festivals and stuff with them, and I saw them back in '86 with Armor Saint opening, and it was like, you know, it's like I still remember it like it was yesterday. It's like a life-changing experience. You know, when you're a huge music fan like we all are,
yeah.
It's that's you know, that's what it is. You know?
Yeah.
It's just I have vivid memories of all these, you know, amazing bands I was able to see and that I played with and all, and music being my life. It's important. You know, it's extremely important that you perform to your best. Hey, if my voice is not 100%, that I can't help that, but I'm still going to push it fucking 100%. It might be cracking, and I might sound like I've been gargling razor blades, but I'm still going to give you 110%.
Still up there.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
well, I think that's it, right?
Yeah, we covered everything.
Yeah,
Awesome.
appreciate you doing this.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Our interview with Kirk Windstein of Crowbar.
That's
And
right.
of course, formerly of Down, and I don't know if you say formerly of Kingdom of Sorrow, but I think that's an ongoing thing that might happen again.
You never know.
You know, I wanted to bring that up, but I figured, well, you know, there's probably not any news there, so
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was just like you said earlier. It was cool to just talk about music, you know, with a guy that we love, you know, and we love his music, but to talk about Saxon and Peter Steele and, you know, Pantera or whatever came up.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to think, you know, a lot of these guys probably get the same questions. So,
Yeah.
kind of like we were talking about the other day, sometimes it's cool just to see what these guys are into or what they're, you know, what they think. And it was just, it came off really good. And, you know, thanks to Crowbar, thanks to Kirk, thanks to Robin for helping out and setting it up. It was just a great experience.
Yeah, and you obviously couldn't hear it in the podcast, but when you brought up Saxon, you know, he showed, you know, he pulled up, you know, part of his pant leg there to show you the Saxon tattoo. And then Matt, the guitarist, pulled open his hoodie to show you the Saxon shirt.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Hey, I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah. So, like you said, it's probably something they're like, hey, you know, it was a little funner than the normal, you know,
Yeah, I hope so. I
generic
think
questions,
so.
you know. So, but yeah, like you said, you know, Robin, Kirk's wife, you know, was their tour manager and merch person and all that stuff too. You know, she was great, helped us out. And Bill at E1, which he mentions in the interview, I think he mentions E1, helped us get this all set up. And thanks obviously to Kirk for being able to or being willing to sit there and spend the time to do this with us.
Definitely. We had the football game on in the background, and we all kind of kept looking over at the TV every now and then for a score. That was cool. But definitely, when these guys roll through your town, check them out. I mean, they put on a great live show. They're always at the merch table, shaking hands and being cool with the fans. So you have no reason to get out there and see what's up with them.
Exactly. Yeah, look them up they're on everything, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously buy their music. These guys are badass. They've got vinyl out, MP3s and everything else. And of course, like we mentioned earlier, check out Even the Dogs on Reverb Nation. Check us out at thethunderunderground.com, and SoundCloud is just Thunder-Underground. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. And we're on Twitter at THNDRUNDR Ground. So until next time, we got anything else we want to talk about? Or are we good?
I think that's it. See everybody later.